all heard the story of your friend who's got a girlfriend, but then he's got a side piece. Then he may have another side piece in a different state.
Yes, like so many Netflix originals.
Yeah, so many rom-coms.
Rom-coms, yes.
My favorite, personally.
They are your favorites.
But we're about to tell you how that is actually you.
Ooh, you're right.
And how you are actually cheating on yourself. Stay tuned.
Perfect.
Welcome to the Mizell Show.
An inspiration for a new generation.
Hi, I'm Alanna Mizell, a loving mother of two, a devoted wife to Steven, and an entrepreneur helping women realize their dreams and potential.
And I'm Steven Mizell, caring father of two, a devoted husband to Alanna, and a driving force to help young men prepare for life after college football.
And if that wasn't enough, we're a biracial couple.
She was raised in the North, but I was raised in the South.
The only thing normal about our lives, who am I kidding? It's never normal around here. Join us for the Mizell Show.
Right now.
So, Steven and I just came back from vacation. First vacay, a family of four.
First vacation, family of four. It was kind of, Alanna told me that, and I was like, nah, bro. I was like, oh, yeah. You went to Orlando, an 18-hour car ride.
Right.
With
an 8-month-old.
8-month-old.
9-month-old.
8-month-old. Adele was 4.
Mm-hmm.
Piper was 7?
I think so, 7 or 8.
7.
Yeah.
Then
a high schooler.
Wendy, then a high schooler.
Yeah. So it was fun.
And
no,
then
it was
the next trip,
absolutely miserable.
Then the next year was Orange Beach with Briggs.
Yes. A little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger. But still, this is the first time that we all went as a family of four, and we relived Alanna's college years. And we went down to
PCB.
PCB. Very nervous about it. But
PCB is Panama City Beach.
Panama City Beach. Very nervous, but we drove a little bit fast past where the boppers were, I guess you would call them. We were a little bit more low key. But by the end of the trip, Adele knew about Pineapple Willie's and paramedics sometimes having to go there. So I was like, all right, it's time to go.
Paramedics, I mean like Air Day.
Air Day.
So what's interesting is that I was reflecting back on, we listened to a sermon on the way home, and like it had me reflect back on, okay, what are the things that maybe I felt my parents wanted me to achieve? Or what did I feel like they wanted me to amount to?
Yeah.
And so I feel like, so Steven's dad is an electrical engineer.
Huh?
And there's got to be a part of him that when you were younger, he was hopeful that at least one of the three of you was going to be an electrical engineer.
I think my dad having his own company,
right,
and running a business, I think there was probably a piece of him that thought one of the three of us would take over the company or follow in kind of the footsteps. But when you say that conversation never happened, but it was never like you said. I'm sure a piece of him wanted to do it though.
Right. So I guess what I'm leaning more towards is the parents or the people that have said that they want to do X. Like the number of people that have said, I've always wanted to be a vet. I have a friend that literally had a dream about becoming an optometrist, and that was what made her decide. And she's literally an optometrist.
Yeah.
And all of those stories worked out so well. But what about the people that have been pushed to go a certain direction? Maybe they've even finished school.
Yeah.
And because it took them so long to get there, because maybe it's a higher stature or that's what they've always talked about, they feel like it's a sense of their identity. Yeah. What about those people that essentially feel like they can't have a voice in what they actually want?
I think it's probably depressing. It's probably deep down inside, you're probably struggling. They are probably struggling with the fact that and the crazy thing is there are some very, very successful people out there not doing what they want to do.
Right.
And they have been given this role or they've been pushed to do this role and they think it's like the role they really need. Yeah. And they're just kind of doing it, kind of going through the motions, and it's actually going. But deep down inside, they do want to be able to be doing something else. And I think we actually have a number of friends that are doing that, or we have
Well,
some friends who have swerved.
I mean, but let's walk through it. So my undergrad is in fashion and home furnishings and a minor in marketing.
Yeah.
Do I use marketing now? Yes.
Yeah.
But
A little bit of fashion.
a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah.
A little bit of those things. But really, when you look down at it, I'm not doing what my degree program set out for.
Yeah.
Like, most of the people with that degree are either doing interior design or are buyers or in a retail space or something like that. And so I had always thought that I was going to work for a wedding company.
Yeah.
Like a wedding dress
Hey,
company.
remember that time I tried to get you a plug with Maggie Sotero and
Yeah, I do. Anyway, but even now, after having a master's degree and having a team of women and us having this podcast and things like that, there are parts of me that go, but what do I want? And I believe that there are parts of people collectively that are so focused on helping others heal and others be okay that they don't truly say what they want.
Yeah, and I think people get sucked down the very, very deep rabbit hole of people pleasing. And they go down the path of thinking that they want to help someone or they could do something to help that person or help that brand or whatever you may say. And then deep down inside, they don't know what they want. They're empty and they have no clue.
So how are you doing that right now?
How am I doing what?
All of that. What part of you do you kind of just have a loss of words of what to do next or what's going on? Or do you feel that way?
I mean, I think there's always time for a self-reflection in which there's certain avenues of your job that even my job, that I think it's window dressing. And it's something that I'm like, am I truly doing this because it fulfills me, or I'm doing this because it pleases other people?
Right. So, and Steven mentioned people pleasing. I would say, are you cheating on yourself?
I could see that. That's a
and
good
here's
good
why I say
verbiage
that. So
of that.
let's actually talk about this sort of on my hump day happenings, but it's so beneficial for us to kind of vet it out with each other, and we didn't get the opportunity to do that. So imagine this. We'll say you hypothetically. You, Steven, have cheated on somebody previously. Hypothetically speaking, you guys, this didn't really happen. I'm just saying, feel the emotions as if you are the cheater in the relationship.
Okay.
You're cheating with somebody else, and you're still dating the other girl. So you got a side girl and you got your main girl.
Side piece.
Like,
got it.
I don't know how else to call it. In those moments, when you know, what do you feel as far as your relationship to your main girl, not your side piece?
You're
main
clearly
girl.
you're feeling something's pulling you to stay where you are. You're trying to remain loyal. You're trying to keep the happy facade. You're trying to make it work, as people say. But
are you feeling any shame or guilt?
There's definitely shame or guilt because
you know that you're doing something wrong. And you know that you're going to hurt somebody that you do care about.
Yeah.
And yet, so in this scenario, you are you.
You're you.
Right? And the main girl is what you do every day. The side piece is what you're not letting yourself think about or dream about or actually do.
Yeah, because the side piece, you're going to that and you're getting a sense of enjoyment, excited, fulfillment, but it's not good enough to let everything else go, but you keep going back to it. Yeah. And that thing is something that you know you should probably think more about doing and staying with it, but you just can't.
Right. And so the reason that I say to actually think about a relationship is because there's not much meat and potatoes as we're talking about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's lay it out versus the thing or go to the thing. So when you're talking about it from like an actual relationship standpoint, you can feel the gut-wrenching reality. So now let's play this. Now let's play your best friend now knows about you cheating, what would your best friend say?
You need to stop this. You don't need to do this.
You got to stop it.
You got to stop it.
Most people would give you a timeline to when you need to tell the original person.
Yeah.
And they would probably be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So if you were to actually sit down, digress where you are in your life, dig through the emotions that you've suppressed because you want to make everybody else around you happy, whether it be your spouse, whether it be your kids, whether it be society, whether it be Instagram, heaven forbid, whether it be Facebook, whether it be, fill in the blank for what you're currently doing, your parents, your sister, what you thought you were supposed to be, but you realize that's not actually what you want. If you were actually going to sit down and tell all of that to your best friend would still say, I'm giving you a certain amount of time to flesh that out.
Yeah.
But we don't have that conversation.
We don't.
We don't have that conversation with people, so we stay stuck continuously cheating on ourselves versus fleshing out the pain and the suffering that we don't even realize is there because we're too busy worrying about everybody else to actually think about what we want.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean like quit your job. That doesn't mean all of a sudden go run away from your family. That's not what I'm saying. But I find that there are so many things in my life, specifically right now, that I have no control over, that I'm dress rehearsing for tragedy, that I'm pre-playing everything that could go wrong. I've got situation A through G figured out.
You got to unpack that. I think it's a word we heard this week, dress rehearsing for tragedy. And I think a lot of people live that every single day.
Which is cheating on yourself.
It's cheating on yourself.
Because you're not living in the current moment. So dress rehearsing for tragedy is when you hear a bit of information. Okay, here's a good example. So both of my kids are now home for summer with me. And at first I was like, great, I'm going to do a craft with them every week. And then it started to spiral. Okay, and then this day I'm going to do this, and this day I'm going to do this, and this day I'm going to do this. That's dress rehearsing for tragedy. And if I don't keep Briggs busy enough, then he's going to freak out and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Versus giving the child the opportunity to grow as a 2.5-year-old.
Yeah.
And give me the opportunity to be like, well, what do I actually need out of this summer?
Yeah.
Do I need a day every week to where I don't have my kids? There was no room for anything except making sure the chaos doesn't happen. So same thing when you're planning for a trip, right? You make sure you've got your passport, you've got your outfits, you've got your backup outfits.
Yeah.
Your backup outfits, let alone, are rehearsing for tragedy. Yeah. Because if this doesn't work out or I eat too much of this, then I'm going to want to wear that.
Yeah.
That is it's replaying every potential outcome versus a living in the current moment. That is dress rehearsing for tragedy. And that is also anxiety.
Yeah.
Y'all, that's anxiety, and that's living versus communicating out your anxious feelings. It's living in fear and making sure that the fear doesn't happen. But actually, when you do that, you're living in the fear that may or may not happen.
Yeah.
So all of that to say, that is cheating on yourself. Every single time we do that. And you guys, unfortunately, this episode will not end with a conclusion. Here's how you fix it.
No.
Because both Steven and I are living in the crux of it.
Yes.
Right now. In certain facets of our lives. And, even looking at food. So both Steven and I have a issue, connection, in a bad connotation towards food.
Yes, we do.
And you can look at us and think, well, they work out, they count macros. But the people that know us and we've let know us would tell you they are severely unhealthy in correlation to food. And that every time we choose food over actually feeling, we're cheating on ourselves.
Yeah.
And when I say cheating on ourselves, what we're really saying is you're cheating on what God has created you to be.
And get what God has created you to have in that moment.
Right.
And so many times, if it's a good moment or a bad moment, we choose to celebrate in food and celebrate. And we also sometimes choose to let the workouts be the reason why you're able to celebrate or do what with the food. And so I do feel that the cheating on yourself philosophy that we've come up with today is something that it's when you put it down to that scenario and you paint that vivid issue.
Which scenario?
Scenario of like actually seeing the couple like going through
mapping
out what cheating looks like.
Yeah.
It's tough. Yeah. It is tough to think through that this is what you're doing to yourself.
To your own self.
To your own self each and every day. And also, when you want to dig even deeper, which is kind of even more, I guess I say depressing, but like, how are you glorifying God? You're not. Yeah, you said if God is giving you that inkling, that passion, that whatever, you continue to suppress it, like, yeah, God, thank you, but I'm going to just go my way, and I'm going to continue.
Like, that's great, but I can't do it right now. I've got to go take care of these kids. I got to make sure this person is good. I got to make sure, remember, they just had a baby. Let me go give them a meal, and then this person's got to get a meal, and I'm going to DoorDash that meal. And then you've spent so much time doing all these things for all these other people, and yet you haven't taken a second to actually see what you were created for.
And God in that moment could have created you just as, hey, have the conversation with the person on the phone. They don't need any food. But you're so wired
like, actually, what they need is a real conversation. Did you know that I sell makeup? Not only do I sell makeup, but the makeup that I sell is 3D makeup, which allows you to highlight and contour your face in a super simple compact. As a mom, I could not survive without my simplified routine. Not only that, but it's exactly what you need. Exactly when you need it, all in one spot. Go ahead and check out Alanna Mizell on Instagram or alannamizell.com to learn more. And what about the times that your mind is actually taking over and shaming you? So that's a whole nother person. You could be cheating on all your people.
Yeah.
So if you were to actually map it out, it would be you at the top and then 3 is kind of how I see it underneath you. Because you'd have your main chick.
Yeah.
You'd have your side piece. And then you'd have how your mind is. So you'd have your third one.
Yeah.
Maybe she's in Chicago. She's an out of town.
Yeah.
Different. What is it? What was the song?
Different area codes. Song connotation for Alanna. We can't do a podcast without her.
I know it's just songs, God. Right?
Yeah.
Don't say that. I was about to sing it, but you can't say the words.
We can't say
the first 4 words.
The first 4 words. It just drops. Yeah.
I've got blank in different area codes. This is what the song is. Anyway, but that's what we're doing. So
unpack that for me.
Okay, so think about what you were just saying on, I'm going to go work out so then I can go celebrate. Is that justifying you eating something that you don't feel like is fueling your body correctly? Or are you shaming your body into working out and not doing it for actually glorifying the fact that you have a body that can actually move? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or how about when you're so busy looking in the mirror that you don't see that you do have 2 limbs and 2 legs and are breathing. And there are people that can't. And we're so self-absorbed with how we're looking for everybody else's approval or disapproval that we're actually shaming ourselves more than anybody else would. And
it goes back to you saying you're cheating on yourself. You're like, You're not...
And if anybody in real life, so now let's play this out. So hypothetically, I don't know why I thought of like Miami Beach. So you're walking down the street, Miami Beach.
Yes.
You got your bathing suit on, and somebody decides to use the words that you say in your head to yourself, but calls them out at you. Ooh. What would you do?
You
would blast their face up.
Yeah, you'd be very, very mad.
They would be on the pavement of Miami Beach.
Yes.
In the way that I shame myself. And that's what we're talking about. So you've got how you feel like you've got to go do all these things for all these other people. That's shaming. Nobody told you had to do that.
Yeah.
Unless that brings you true and authentic joy. No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't. Just because Pinterest has a 3-tier cake for the 3-year-old's birthday does not mean that your 3-year-old wants a 3-tiered cake.
Yeah.
That's fact.
Yeah, it's fact. Yeah.
And that also doesn't mean that you need to go run for 10 miles so you can eat a piece of the 3-year-old's cake that the 3-year-old doesn't even want.
Yes.
And you never asked the 3-year-old if they want it, but you felt like the 3-year-old had to have it because somebody else told you that they had to have it.
Yeah.
Somebody else yelled at you, you've got to go run 10 miles. And that somebody else in every one of these scenarios is you.
Yeah.
It is you.
Mm-hmm.
And you may not have multiple personality disorder, but I'm going to tell you, if you sit down and think about how your brain allows you to jump around in different spots, you're cheating on yourself with a whole lot of different people.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Yeah.
Right. So how many things do you say to yourself, tearing yourself down? I was doing it like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. You have like...
And told Steven. And he was trying to make me feel better. I was like, I don't want to feel better right now.
What was that? The movie with what's the guy's name?
I have no idea.
Multiplicity?
Yes.
Well, it's like,
oh, that's such a funny movie.
It's such a funny movie.
It probably looks so dated, but it's so true.
It's so true.
This guy clones himself, and every time he clones himself,
his
character gets a little bit less.
Yeah.
And then he realizes that the original, exactly the way he was worth it all along.
Yes.
And y'all, that's what we're saying. So he was cheating on himself because he wasn't able to be at all the things that everybody else wanted him to be at. And he was failing at showing up. Mm-hmm. And so he sent out all these different lookalikes, literally clones of him. And that's what you're doing. You're sending out all these lookalikes that kind of look like you're there. But if somebody were to really dig in and see you, they would find out that they're just shells. They are lesser characters of who you actually are.
Oh, yeah.
They realize that you are cheating on yourself.
Yeah.
The whole time. You don't get the full Steven.
Yeah, the full Steven or the full Alanna. And we're not saying, like, cut everything off your life except for one thing.
No.
We're saying for you to evaluate all the things, all the peoples, all the facets of your life.
Right.
And to bring it back to your true, authentic self. And for you to have that tough conversation, because we all know the vivid picture. If you were cheating on someone or you saw someone cheating, you would be quick to jump on. You'd be quick, but like we are living each and every day cheating on ourselves.
Yeah.
And just letting it continue to happen.
Yeah, and manifest.
Manifest, yeah.
And so we don't really, like I said earlier, we don't really know how to solve this solution.
This is not a solvable solution.
We are in the middle of it right now, but here's what we have figured out so far. There are certain things that will bring you peace. And there are certain things that it almost feels like, I've got to add that to my list of things to do. But really, when I add that to the list of things to do, I feel better doing it. Here's the example. So for me, if I have a strict bedtime routine, usually it has something to do with getting in the shower, rinsing off, and then I'll ideally not have my phone near me.
Yep.
And then I'll read. I have a timer on my hatch to read for 20 minutes.
Yes.
The reason being, if I don't have a timer, I will keep reading.
Yes.
There have been times that I have silenced that. Anyway, because I love to read, I love to escape mentally, and that's how I'm able to fall asleep. There are many times in which all of that feels like it's just too much. It's more than I can handle.
Yeah.
But when I don't do it, the person that comes out the next day is one of those characters in Multiplicity.
Yeah.
She is less than. And every time you give less than of yourself because you're not willing to do a little bit more work, what happens is you're unable to actually feel what you want.
Yeah.
You're too busy surviving.
Yeah.
So what's a way that I got to do these things so that Steven can be at least somewhere close to the real authentic self.
I mean, I think...
Or at least allow you to get to where you're like, okay, I know what that feeling is today, and address it.
I think I want to say, I mean, I have a bedtime routine that I do truly should do in terms of the things that help me wind down. And I'm not going to say read a book because I just struggle to read a book, but I do enjoy some times of quiet. While you're reading, I enjoy times of meditating and really rethinking the day and rethinking just moments of I guess moments of gratitude while I'm just closing my eyes and I'm really just being at peace with myself.
Yeah.
And something you just said has made me think about this. These are things that we know we should do, and we. So
here's I would love to change the verbiage. Instead of should do, which is shame.
Yeah.
Written like, oh, I didn't do that. Now I feel guilty. What if we changed it to, something like would fuel me? I know these things would fuel me.
That's a lot. That's a, what they call them, I am statements or a
right. And so that's a way that you're cheating on yourself by saying I should do, which we all do regularly. Yes. I should do. That gives you guilt and shame versus these things would fuel me. Or I think these things would fuel me.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I think that's a great way to put it.
And it's hard. So you're going to have an accountability partner.
Have an accountability partner, but also I think it helps you rethink the process that you're doing, and you're realizing you're doing this to help fuel yourself and to give you that energy that's going to help you that next day. But right. I was thinking through this also. These are things that we can't control, but a lot of times we, how you want to say it, you fall short. And you're quick to blame other things and say, hey, I didn't get a chance to do that because I was exhausted because of the kids. Or that person called me and texted me and ruined it. And again, it goes back to the whole cheating philosophy. When you cheat, you say, I'm doing this because this person's causing me to do this. And realistically, it's on you. So
you're the one that actually chose. And in Miracle Morning, he says, you are 100% responsible for the actions you take.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that another person wasn't at fault for how they made you feel, but what you do next is 100% on you.
Yes.
And if you perpetually do that, you are perpetually cheating on yourself.
Oh, for sure.
You're choosing to not get better.
Yeah.
You're choosing to be one of the multiplicity characters.
You're choosing to not do the bedtime routine that could refuel you the next day and that night. And it's such a... And I think this is probably one of my favorite podcasts we've done because we don't have an answer, and we don't. Like, we're not sitting here saying we
have opposite of the answer.
We're bringing this to you to help us hold ourselves more accountable and also open our eyes to that gut wrenching, like we are cheating on ourselves, and it's all kind of stemmed from Stephen Furtick saying, like, are you cheating on God? And it's like, whoa, wait a minute, I'm cheating on myself with these things.
Right.
So I think it's very important for that self-reflection. Yeah.
I think it is so important for that self-reflection. And this is probably one of the most current vulnerable points that you and I are at.
Yeah.
Like, we've told stories about other vulnerability points that we've been through and have gotten to the other side. But y'all, when I say that Steven and I have an obsession with food I
wouldn't say an obsession. I would say an addiction.
Okay, because there's a whole ton of difference. But we have an addiction to food and a longing for overall wellness, and we know what we know what would fuel us. I almost said should.
You almost said should. Yes.
We know what would fuel our minds and our bodies, but how we can get there, we're figuring out.
We're figuring it out, and we love your support. Yeah. And we're going to keep you guys posted as we grow through this together.
And you guys, we would love to hear if there are certain things that you do that you find fueling in your day. So for me, it's that bedtime routine. It's walking. It's, escaping with a book. Those kinds of things. We'd love to hear what else other people do.
And guys, on the Mizell Show, it is a safe space. So if you need to slide in our DMs and we can call you or we can talk about it anonymously on the podcast.
Yeah, we'd love that.
We'd love to do that. We would love to help you guys out.
Or you can always email info@themizellshow.com. And that's our email address. So definitely, y'all, we would love that. We would love that a whole lot, and kind of hash through some of these things would be super great. We are so grateful for you guys. We're grateful that this podcast has turned into an area where we feel like we can be open and vulnerable about things that are just real hard. They're just hard.
It's hard. I think it's authentic because unlike most podcasts, we're not going to offer you the perfect solution. We might not even offer you a solution. We're going to just talk to you through how we genuinely feel and hope to get feedback from you guys and just letting you know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Don't forget to follow us over on Instagram at The Mizell Show. Thanks, guys. Are you loving The Mizell Show? Well, we love you all. And did you know that you can have me and Steven talk to your team or a group of 25 of your friends? All it takes is 25 people showing up on either a Zoom call, a Facebook Live, or really anywhere, hopefully in person sooner rather than later. But how do you get us? So all you have to do is email themizellshow@gmail.com, or you can direct message us on Instagram @themizellshow.